Welcome everyone to another first look / video game guide. Today we're gonna check out Pixel Piracy by the makers of Terraria and recently voted into Steam Greenlight. Pixel Piracy is a 2D real-time strategy sandbox game in which you live the life of a pirate, recruiting your own crew, building and expanding your ship, and pillage and trade your way through the unforgiving world of Pixel Piracy. So let's get right into it and start a new game. You may choose the name of your captain as well as the world you'll be sailing. There are 3 difficulty modes: Princess, Hardcore and Arena, but for demonstration purposes we'll be sticking to the Princess mode and start the game. After that you'll be asked several questions that will affect the gameplay slightly depending on your answers, such as the frequency of ship encounters or an extra crew member to begin with. Finally, we can choose our captain's appearance and get into the actual world.
Jolly Roger!
You'll appear on the starter island, which contains a few shopkeepers as well as a tavern, where your crew members will drink and gain morale, and where you can hire new crew as well. Depending on your answers, you'll either have 1 crew member already or none at all. In both cases, we want to hire some more crew. So let's get our captain into the tavern near the tavern keeper and hit the spacebar to interact with him. Since we do not have a lot of gold yet, we want to look out for the cheaper crew. In most cases you'll be able to acquire 2 additional crew members with your starting budget. Since we cannot do much more at the moment, it's time to build our ship and sail to plunder for more gold before we come back and check out the other shops. To do so, we want to hit the spacebar and get into the ship setup. Here we can choose and place materials onto the grid. Note that you want to install some wood deck walls for your crew not to fall into the water and drown miserably, but you also want to place down your starting food items so the pirates can fill their stomachs after battle. Now that we have our basic ship, it's time to get the crew aboard and sail out. You can control your captain with a left click and the rest of the crew with a right click to bring them aboard.
There she blows.
Once everyone is aboard, we want to hit the spacebar again and check out the world map. Here you can choose your heading and get an indication on what you can expect. To start plundering, level 1 pirate encounters are a good place. Other places to go involve amongst others islands, random events and even legendary encounters. Once you mark a destination, you can see how many units of traveling time it will take. This has an influence on your crew's morale as well as hunger, so keep in mind when undertaking longer journeys you take enough booze and food with you. Once you confirm your destination, you'll have the opportunity to save, and you'll be going through a traveling phase which will make your crew, besides losing hunger and morale, also gain experience points, which you can then spend on various stats for each individual crew member, which is just one way of upgrading your people. Next you'll find yourself in the encounter stage, where you want to engage the enemy by boarding their ship and destroying everything in your path. On success you can send your crew back to your ship while you loot all the precious stuff left behind before going back to your ship as well to pillage the rest of the wreckage using the icons at the bottom. This will yield you extra gold as well as new ship parts to expand your builds. Now you're ready to move on to the next location. Since there's a few more pirate encounters nearby, I'm going to plunder these locations before we want to head back to a town to get some more supplies. I'm also taking this opportunity to spend some of the talent points our crew has gained by accessing the crew menu, selecting the individual members and increasing their various stats and attributes in the GUI. So let's have some fun fighting and meet back in town.
There she blows. There she goes. There she goes. There she goes.
Once you get back into a town, your crew will automatically get off the ship and, if available, right into the tavern, where they will regain their morale. Sometimes you might not be lucky enough to find the tavern, so the devs left us with another option to increase the morale, also found within the crew's GUI on the top, where you may simply pay them to fill up their morale. If you are not able to keep up the morale of your crew, they will eventually turn on you, so be aware of that. Now that we have some gold again, we want to check out the other shopkeepers we haven't yet. In this particular town I have a weapons vendor where I can buy better weapons for myself and me crew, but more to that later. First we want to go to the food vendor and acquire some watermelons and booze for the next trip. Watermelons don't need to be cooked, which is a skill required for other meals. This brings me to the skills vendor, which is the last vendor type in this town. Here I can acquire various skills for my crew members to learn and perform during battle or on the ship. With our limited funds, I'm going to buy myself one cleaning skill and one cooking skill, both of which I'm going to teach to my captain for now. To do so, we must have enough training points to apply the skill. Selecting my captain and clicking on the passive item slot, we can see what kind of items we currently have available, including the 2 skills we just bought. Since I only have 8 training points, I can teach myself only one skill, the cleaning skill, by simply clicking on it, after which it will be consumed and the skill will be listed in the crew member's GUI. Before we put that skill to use, let's expand our ship with the various materials we've plundered on our journey so far and bring our captain back aboard. Since he's got the cleaning skill now, it should only take a few moments and he's going to get rid of the poop that we have dropped on deck. Much better. Once our morale is back up again, we continue sailing to undiscovered locations, such as a random event, which a lot of the time gives you free experience or training points. We haven't been so lucky though, and one of our crew members has started bleeding instead, which will have to stop using a potion from a shop. But we are reckless and don't have the gold required to do so anyways, so let's set course to something else. Another type of location I want to show you in this video is the islands, of course, so let's set course to one of them. Contrary to ship encounters, you are not forced to face the threats on an island if you find it overwhelming, but in our case I think we can take them on and plunder the island for treasure and gold, even though we're gonna lose our bleeding friend. Once an island is conquered, I like to send my crew back to the ship while my captain loots all the stuff. Note that when you come close to a chest or something else to interact with, you can use the buttons at the bottom to do so. But be aware you don't necessarily want to interact with everything there is, as some of them contain a few surprises for you and you'll be forced to load from a previous save game. Well, now this has been it about the basic gameplay and the functionalities so far, but there's tons of stuff in it I can't possibly include in a first look video like this, such as all the various skills you may purchase, ranged weapons for your crew, cannons for your ships, deadly and exciting encounters and much more. Now be aware that this game is still in alpha, which means it has a lot of potential for features to be added. The devs themselves are thrilled by the success of this game and are eager to implement a broad scope of updates and patches with new content being added every time, such as factional warfare systems, pyro coves, trading, quests, unique abilities and traits and much more for a great experience. So definitely something to look forward to. Well guys, this has been it for today's first look / video game guide. I hope you enjoyed it and I catch you the next time. Bye bye.